when Gavin Newsom talks about California. He's like, I'm very big on California, very bullish on California. Hey, they're all moving. The only reason why they don't move is because it's too difficult to move. It's too expensive to leave versus all the bullshit with all the permits and all that. It's too expensive.
I was on KBLA yesterday, with my friend Tavis Smiley. I'm an investor and a supporter of that station. And he said, who do you want to run for president? I mentioned, I think you'd be good at the job. Not this year, we know. No, I know. But he said, I don't think he could win. I don't think he could win. He's too progressive coming from this state and what he's done in this state to win in any southern state, any red state. I disagreed, but this is a progressive African-American owned station, and I'm sure they like you, but doesn't think you can win. What do you say to that if you could win look at the swing states, there's only 8.
All right, here's the situation. California Governor Gavin Newsom just got slapped with a live, televised reality check. And the guy holding the mirror, none other than Bill Maher. What started as a casual interview quickly turned into a political roast. And Newsom, he walked in confident and walked out exposed.
See, today, the Trump administration, they talked about the fact that California had a rule that schools cannot be required to notify parents if their kids in school have changed their gender, their pronouns. That's the kind of thing, even though it doesn't affect a lot of people, that makes a lot of people go, well, you know what? That's the party without common sense. Now, if that's your state, how are you?
Well, I just disagree with that. I mean, the law was you would be fired. A teacher would be fired if a teacher did not report or snitch on a kid talking about their gender identity. I just think that was wrong. I think teachers should teach. I don't think they should be required to turn in kids. And by the way,
we're talking about their parents. How can you snitch? The idea of a snitch and a parent to me doesn't compute.
Well, I don't. But what is the job of a teacher? It's to teach. If Johnny's talking about some identity issue or some issue about liking someone of the same sex, is the teacher's job.
F-bomb comment. He's an evil snake motherfucker. I don't know how to describe it. You see what he just did there, and Bill got it right. Somehow it's snitching if the parent finds out. If the teacher says, oh, your kid has been going by other names and changing pronouns and dressing up this way, you don't know about that as the parents. That's the snitch. It's the parent's job to raise.
If you missed the exchange, let me catch you up, because this wasn't your average debate. Newsom, normally polished and poised, got steamrolled. Maher ripped through his talking points like a lawyer cross-examining a guilty witness. It wasn't just tense, it was humiliating. California's golden boy got dunked on, live.
Democracy is under assault before our eyes. This moment we have feared has arrived. What Donald Trump wants most is your fealty, your silence to be complicit in this moment. Do not give in to it. The rule of law has increasingly been given way to the rule of Don. The founding fathers, they didn't live to die to see this kind of moment. It's time for all of us to stand up. Justice Brandeis said it best. In a democracy, the most important office, with all due respect, Mr. President, is not the presidency, and it's certainly not governor. The most important office is office of citizen.
And no, it didn't end when the cameras cut. That moment set off a political chain reaction. The illusion, crack, the media firestorm, immediate, the fallout, still happening.
What's going on in California? It isn't slowing down. The gangs are not slowing down. Newsom did eventually come out and apologize. If you want to go on Twitter, Rob, and just go to the apology to a video that he came out eventually. This is, I think, 4-5 days later. On day one, I asked him, I said, are you going to come out and do this? Watch how he's finally wanting to have his people be responsible. Go ahead, Rob.
Incite violence. I want to be clear about this. If you incite violence or destroy our communities, you're going to be held to account.
Okay.
That kind of criminal behavior will not be tolerated. Full stop. Already more than 220 people have been arrested. And we're reviewing tapes to build additional cases. And people will be...
Critics came from every corner, left, right, and everywhere in between. The media, angry voters, even former supporters piled on. It was like watching a man fall in real time with zero safety net. And yeah, some folks might feel a little bad. But most say Newsom is finally getting what he deserves. Because while he smiles for the cameras, California is drowning in crime, homelessness, and an economic collapse that's driving people out in droves. Why does this moment matter? Because it exposed a truth too big to ignore. And if you're into brutal, no-spin political takedowns, go ahead and subscribe, because we're just getting started. That Bill Maher interview wasn't just a bad look, it was a turning point. Gavin Newsom's image didn't just crack, it shattered. Imagine political dominoes falling one by one, each one built on broken promises, crumbling credibility, and public trust long gone. Let's call it like it is. California isn't struggling, it's bleeding. Homeless camps now define the cityscapes. Crime is practically scheduled, and people are fleeing the state like it's on fire. Under Newsom, everything got worse. And remember when Joe Rogan called him a con man? That didn't come from nowhere. That was a red flag waving in plain sight.
Nobody wants President Newsom either. Nobody believes in that guy. That guy's a f***ing con man. Everything he did in California, from trying to mandate vaccines for kids, being caught public without a mask and lying about the fact that he was outdoors. Yeah. Nobody believes in that guy. He's just a politician. Just a stone-cold, narrative-driven politician. Nobody thinks he's a real human. Whether you like Trump or not, whether you think he's corrupt or not, that's a human being. You know what that guy is. Same thing with RFK Jr. Whether you believe that he's correct about vaccines or whether you believe his policies would be effective, and you know that's a human being. With Newsom, you've got like this construct, this cardboard cutout of a person. I don't think people want that, but they might want it more than they want.
And the reason that line hit so hard, 'cause it felt true. Newsom plays the part of a leader, but governs like a guy cosplaying competence. High taxes, failing schools, a mass business exodus, and tent cities spreading like wildfires. Then Maher dropped the bomb. A law backed by Newsom that lets teachers hide a student's gender transition from their parents. That lit up the headlines, and the backlash was fierce. This wasn't just a culture war flare-up. It was a base-cracking blow. Newsom wasn't just losing Republicans. He was bleeding out support from his own progressive base.
When Gavin Newsom talks about California, he's like, I'm very big on California, very bullish on California. Hey, they're all moving. The only reason why they don't move is because it's too difficult to move. It's too expensive to leave versus all the bullshit with all the permits and all the... It's too expensive.
And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, Joe Rogan came back swinging, calling Newsom a cardboard cutout of a person. No soul, no spine, just slogans in a suit. And honestly, a lot of people agreed. So what does Newsom do? He panics, rolls out initiatives, holds pressers, promises crackdowns and reforms. But it doesn't look like leadership, it looks like damage control. And let's talk about that homelessness crisis. It's not a recent problem. It's been a slow-motion disaster. But under Newsom, it's become a defining failure. Tent cities in LA and San Francisco now feel permanent. And when Mel Gibson, that Mel Gibson is calling you out, that's not just a tabloid moment. That's a culture shift.
Newsom and Karen Bass have already proven their incompetence and poor leadership during the Los Angeles wildfires. Now, as we experience rampant lawlessness and civil unrest, it's never been more clear they're unable to respond effectively and responsibly during calamity. Whether it's sheer incompetence or outright malevolence, the reality is stark. California's in a state of turmoil, and I ask my fellow Angelenos, why are Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass still in office? How much more of their destructive decision-making masquerading as leadership are we going to...
Fires raging, streets overrun, communities desperate, and the governor... Well, Californians aren't just angry, they're exhausted. And now, people from all political backgrounds are asking the same question. Is Gavin Newsom a fraud? He finally apologized for the crime, for the chaos, for downplaying the mess. But was it honest reflection, or just a desperate PR tour to salvage 2024 dreams? And then Bill Maher delivered another stinger. Too progressive to win in any southern state. Not just a zinger. Wake-up call. Because the fantasy of President Newsom is fading fast. He was once the poster boy for the progressive future. Now, he's political baggage with a well-gelled haircut. And remember when he cleared out homeless camps, right before international leaders came to visit? That wasn't reform. That was window dressing. Clean up the streets for the VIPs. Then let Californians live in the mess. It didn't feel like public service. It felt like political theater. For now, the real question. Can Gavin Newsom recover? Will he pivot, rebuild trust, and somehow climb back into the spotlight? Or is this just the beginning of a slow, humiliating fade-out? Because every new headline, every new scandal, every business that leaves the state, it chips away at whatever's left of that slick, scripted image. Now it's your turn. Is Gavin Newsom falling apart? Or is this just overhyped backlash? Are his policies helping anyone? Or is it all just progressive smoke and mirrors? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more straight-up political breakdowns, no fluff, no filters, like and subscribe. We're just getting warmed up.